Hello everyone and welcome to my review of the film Annabelle Creation. This movie was directed by David F. Sandberg and is the current most recent entry into the Conjuring franchise / universe. Yes, there's a franchise even for that film series now, so let's get right into this review, guys. So for those of you who don't know or have not seen my review for the film Lights Out, the movie Lights Out was actually also directed by Annabelle Creation director David F. Sandberg. And I'm not a big fan of the movie Lights Out. A lot of people really like it, but for me personally, that movie just wasn't emotionally investing enough, and the story was just not investing enough for me, even though I liked the concept of the film. But Annabelle Creation is also, of course, directed by David F. Sandberg, and is a much better film from my perspective. And really, he's created a very good horror movie with this film, Annabelle Creation. I think that if you're familiar with the Conjuring universe, and especially if you have seen the first Annabelle film, you're going to enjoy Annabelle Creation a lot more. As someone who is familiar with the Conjuring universe and has seen the first and second, this movie was a ton of fun, and David F. Sandberg's created an extremely, well created, well crafted horror film. So let's talk about some of the technical aspects of this film first. So talking in terms of cinematography for this film, the Conjuring franchise has always been very strong in terms of its cinematography, and Annabelle Creation is no exception to this rule. Whether it be the long sweeping one takes inside of the home where this movie is set, or the very steady cam shots that are meant to kind of creep under your skin and make you extremely uncomfortable. This is horror film cinematography at its finest. Very well done, very technically amazing work here on display. The cinematography in this film is really good. I think it should come as no surprise that David F. Sandberg, who created the film, or directed the film I should say, Lights Out, has an excellent kind of eye for lighting. And this movie has most of its scares, in fact, based on some excellent lighting practices. A lot of the film kind of juxtaposes in one scene a place that is completely just totally dark, pitch dark, and a place that is illuminated, and it creates some amazing horror imagery, guys. This is where most of the scares find their base from, is the lighting in this movie. Really good use of lighting consistently throughout the film, and in addition with kind of this great cinematography in this film, David F. Sandberg is someone who knows how to create good scares. So let's talk about those scares. Annabelle Creation is a scary film, and the reason it's so scary is because there's so many effective scare sequences in the film. And obviously lighting and cinematography have a lot to do with that, but David F. Sandberg as a director himself has put in some excellent work into this film, which really surprised me because Lights Out really didn't impress me. But David F. Sandberg is a director who understands the concept that it's not the jump scare that's scary, it's the build up to the jump scare that's scary. And not only does he understand that, he also uses that concept to his advantage to create some really tension filled white knuckle sequences that are extremely scary, and the setups are really scary and also very fun. He's a very inventive director in this film when it comes to setting up scares. There are a lot of interesting scary moment build-up in this movie. There's a lot of usage of different things around the house to create those scares, and I really enjoyed that aspect. Occasionally, Annabelle Creation does fall into the trap of horror cliches, but honestly, because the technique and the technical level of this film is so excellent, and David F. Sandberg's direction is so well done, so well executed, you won't really mind. Even when there's the kind of cliched creaky door kind of scenes, they're done so well, and the camera work and the lighting and the build up to the scare is so good. You honestly won't mind. It's really a very well done scary film overall on a technical level. Let's talk a little bit about the acting and some of the plot of this movie as well. In terms of actors, most of the movie's main actors are actually children. And most of the time, I've kind of noticed in a lot of recent films, child actors are putting in some of the best work in cinema. This isn't really one of those films. None of the actors in this film, none of the child actors really did a bad job in the movie, but you could see that they weren't very experienced, and their kind of acting came off often a little bit exaggerated, and that kind of pulls you out of the movie. Again, not a bad job from anyone in this movie, but a little too exaggerated, and you can see that they're a little bit inexperienced. But that's kind of my biggest, qualm about Annabelle Creation, is that the acting just wasn't realistic enough for me sometimes. Even some of the adult actors seemed a little inexperienced is all. Their acting just wasn't up to par. It wasn't terrible, as I said, but it just didn't meet the mark that I was expecting. As for the plot of this movie, the plot itself is actually really intriguing and interesting, and what they do with the Conjuring universe is also very interesting in relation to the Annabelle doll and all those things. All very well done, but I never was able to get emotionally invested in these characters, and I think partly that's because of the actors, and partly because the script itself, when it comes to developing an attachment to these characters, is very weak. Because you can see there are a lot of scenes where they try and provide some sort of character development for these characters, and it's just really difficult to get emotionally attached because the dialogues in the script just seem a little too forced, and it just didn't work. And it's worked in the past in horror films, of course. Even Conjuring and Conjuring 2, I think you really felt for the characters in the film. And one of the reasons I feel that this is true is maybe because in the back of my head I'm comparing this to the Conjuring movies. I think that might be part of the reason, because I just love the characters of the Warrens so much, and just not having them around in this spin-off movie may have also affected my opinion. But I really do think that this movie kind of lacked a little bit more of an emotional investment, for sure, in comparison to the Conjuring movies. And just as a standalone movie too, I really do think that they could have formed a more deeper emotional connection with the audience through this film. Overall, guys, Annabelle Creation is a very well-executed horror film with some very fun, scary sequences. This is one of those films that I recommend you watch with your friends, because it's going to be a ton of fun to kind of enjoy those scary sequences together, since they are so well-executed, and there's so much tension in the film constantly. Overall, a very fun kind of haunted house movie. Really enjoyed Annabelle Creation, and very surprised by David F. Sandberg's work in this movie. He's also working on, I think, the DC movie Shazam, so I'm excited and interested in seeing what this director can do. Definitely surprised me. David F. Sandberg, now for me, a guy to look out for. Not so much with Lights Out, but after seeing Annabelle Creation, I definitely can say this director has a really good future in whatever he does. I think he's a very good director, at least from what I'm seeing in this film. How this movie ties into the Conjuring franchise, for those of you interested, it does tie in kind of interesting ways, and especially if you're familiar with the original Annabelle movie, there are little Easter eggs for those people to really enjoy. What do I think overall, like having a Conjuring franchise? Originally, honestly, I was a bit skeptical, because I felt like this was just another marketing ploy or just a way to make easy money. But after seeing Annabelle Creation, I really do think that there could be potential for a franchise here. I definitely have to see more material to make a fully formed opinion, but I can see why there might be incentive to create a franchise for the Conjuring universe. So overall, guys, I enjoyed Annabelle Creation. I'm going to give this one a B+. Again, I wish there was a little bit more emotional investment, but it's a scary movie, and I really enjoyed it.